Hi everybody, this is Gimsy, and in today's video I'm going to be continuing on Deku's Darkside on chapter 3 by Sasake. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say. Hopefully you enjoy, and if you do, maybe like or subscribe. It's up to you really. Anyway, let's go into it.
Silent switch.
Oh yeah, chapter 3, A New Life. Deku woke up, looking around, checking the clock that was on the nightstand next to his bed, seeing that it was 10 AM. It had been a few days since he decided to join the league. His mum would definitely be worried by now, but he didn't have much of a choice about joining the league, and he knew it'd be best that she didn't get involved. He got out of bed, and after getting dressed, he went into the kitchen and made himself some breakfast. As he sat down to eat, Deku looked around, taking in his new home. The league put him in a pretty decent sized apartment, with a master bedroom, 2 rooms, 2 bathrooms, a living room, an area that doubled as a dining room and kitchen, and a veranda. The dining hall was lightly furnished, with a table and 2 chairs, and the kitchen only had simple appliances. In the living room there was a sofa, a coffee table, and a TV mounted on a wall. His bedroom only had his bed, closet filled with new clothes, and an end table with a lamp and an alarm clock. One of the other rooms was empty, while the other had a couple of empty bookshelves, a pair of computers, and a chair. This room was for when he worked on analysis and store his work. After cleaning up breakfast, Deku walked into the room, sitting in the chair, turning both the computers on. But before he could do anything, All For One's face appeared on one of the screens. "Good morning, Deku." "Good morning, Sensei. I must admit that I didn't expect to see you this morning," Deku greeted. "May I ask what this call is about?" "It is simple, really. Seeing as you've been with us for a few days, I thought that I should talk with you about what you would be working on from here on out. I guess this means that I won't only analyze quirks here, am I?" All For One shook his head. "Well, that along with your intelligence is the main reason for me having brought you here. You won't just stay here doing that. I will send you on high priority projects to work on. But when you're not doing that, you're going to go into the field as well. But that is not all you will be spending your time on, however." "I'm already not liking the sound of this," Deku thought. "You will also go into the field to help with various assignments in the future. Of course I will honor our agreement and let you have some leeway with what assignments you take part of, seeing as how you are a valuable member to this group, and the fact that you will be sent into the field. I have decided that you should learn to take care of yourself. I want you ready in an hour for your first lesson. Kurojiri will pick you up then." Having said that, All For One disappeared from the screen, leaving Deku all alone with his thoughts. Well, I can't say I'm surprised. Things are heading in this direction, though that doesn't mean I'm not too pleased with this. Well, seeing as I don't have any choice, I better get ready. And this was the truth. Even though All For One agreed to his conditions and has said so far, Deku knew things could become real dangerous if he wasn't careful. Though, he didn't really care that much. He already agreed to join, and there was no going back anymore. He left the room to get ready, and an hour later, a portal appeared to take him to get trained. Without hesitation, he stepped through, completely prepared to immerse himself into his new life. 10 months later, at UA. All Might watched with the other teachers as applicants made their way through the exam. Since he wasn't an official teacher at UA yet, he wasn't a judge. He was there for another reason. He was examining possible successors to his quirk, one for all. He already had someone in mind when he came to UA, but he was currently watching the incoming first year students to see if there was someone that he thought would be more worthy of his power. Can someone become a hero without a quirk? All Might gasped. Ever since that day, months ago, he had been recalling his encounter with the boy every now and then, unable to get him off his mind. He wasn't proud of what he had done, how he had destroyed the kid's dream, but he did so for a reason, and he had told the kid being a hero was dangerous. He had said those things, hoping the boy would be safer. He knew from personal experience that people without quirks would be at a disadvantage against those who had them. Then something dawned on him. It wouldn't have been impossible. He could have offered the boy the chance to become a hero, his successor even. Though he had just met the kid, he could sense that he had the makings of a great hero. All Might shook his head. No, he thought. It would have been nearly impossible for a quirkless person to have enough control to keep from harming themselves. Even if he gave his power to him, the boy wouldn't have been able to handle it. All Might turned back towards the screen to watch the exams again, but at the back of his mind, he couldn't help but wonder what had happened to the boy. Deku was in the league's training room. It was a simple place, with only a couple of punching bags, boxing ring, a training mat, some weights, and a closet with some extra supplies. Due to All For One's orders, Deku had spent the last 10 months focusing on his training, only doing his analysis work in the free time. Since he didn't have a quirk, Deku also started working on several tools and items with the help from the league in order for him to use while out on the field. He had changed drastically since he joined 10 months ago, both in mind and body. He now kept his hair a bit longer and dyed, turning it from a natural dark green to a black. And though it wasn't completely obvious while he wore his usual clothes, but thanks to all the training and works out, he had gained a muscular body. All signs of a scrawny boy had completely vanished. And after his time with the league, his personality had also changed. He was no longer the same coward that was scared of everyone. He had grown tougher, no longer backing down to anyone except All For One. He even sharpened his mind and sense, allowing him to perform better than before. After his 10 months of training, Deku no longer had someone in charge of his instructions, instead working alone to improve his body and different skills that he had picked. He was currently working on his martial arts in nothing but a pair of training shorts, using one of the sandbags when a portal opened up and Kurogiri appeared. "Good evening, Deku." "Evening." Deku turned towards a nearby window, seeing that Kurogiri was right. "Could have sworn it was still morning," Deku said, shaking his head. "That just shows how dedicated you are to your training, which would make Sensei proud. Speaking of which, he's asked me to fetch you for a meeting." "Alright then. Let me just grab my stuff real quick," Deku said, grabbing his t-shirt and shoes, putting them on before putting the gloves he was wearing away in the closet. After doing this, Deku stepped through the portal, entering the bar, finding himself alone with Kurogiri and Shigaraki. "Hey there, hand fetish. How you doing?" Deku greeted, pissing Shigaraki off. But before he could do anything, All For One appeared on his usual screen. While Shigaraki hated Deku, he knew better than to try anything in front of All For One. "Good evening, you three," All For One greeted. "I assume you know why I have called you here." "Nope," Deku answered. He had been so absorbed into his work and training recently to pay much attention to what was going on. All For One sighed quietly before explaining things to Deku. "All Might has taken a teaching position at UA." Hearing this, Deku shifted slightly. Whenever his former idol was brought up these days, he couldn't help but feel a bit of resentment. So I guess this means that Kachan will be taught by All Might? Though he hated his former bully, he knew he would have been able to easily get into UA with his smarts and skills. So why is this important? Deku asked. Deku, please wait for him to explain first, Kurogiri said. Because All Might is the biggest threat to this organization and its goals, All For One explained. He needs to be removed, or he will eventually bring us to our knees. For that reason, I sent Tomura to UA, and after causing a bit of destruction, he was able to do some investigating. Yeah, I let the press in, and I was able to find some pretty interesting stuff, Shigaraki bragged. Deku ignored him, instead turning to All For One and to ask him something. And just what were you able to find out? Tomorrow, Class 1A, along with the 3 instructors, including All Might, will make a trip to the USJ in order to do rescue training. And let me guess, we're going to attack them while they are there? Deku asked. I just have one question. How are we going to do this? What are you, scared that your idol will die? Shigaraki asked. Enough, Tomura, All For One said, silencing the old man. While All Might is indeed a powerful person, he is no means invincible. There has simply not been someone who could overcome. At least, not until there is. Tomura and Kurogiri will lead a group, and there they will kill the symbol of peace. Deku agreed that it wasn't impossible, but he was curious about something. Sensei, if only Shigaraki and Kurogiri are going, then why did you ask that I come here? All For One smiled. Because, young Deku, I thought that I'd offer you a very enticing opportunity. You see, the young man that tormented you throughout your life will be there, and I thought you would like the chance to say hi. After all your training, I don't think there would be much of a problem. So what do you say? Deku stood silently for a couple of seconds, his head racing with different thoughts, but then he made up his mind. When do I show up? So that's the end of the video, and I lost my voice. So I shouldn't have eaten a muesli bar before recording this video. But again, thank you for Sasaki for letting me use his fan fiction and record it and put it on this channel. It made me really happy, and he even plugged my channel on the first chapter, and that made me really happy as well. So anyway, hopefully you guys did like this. If you did, then go check on Sasaki's profile on Wattpad. And with all that out of the way, bye. Oh yeah, follow me on Instagram. Yeah, I should have probably mentioned that before. Ah, fuck!